the question was directed to myself and the lieutenant colonel. Where does the passion come from? You know, why did each of us choose our particular service? Speaking for myself, I actually started, as I mentioned, in Air Force ROTC. They offered me a scholarship to go to school, and so I took it. I also, ironically, attended Army ROTC classes just because I was interested. This seemed like the Army had the Air Force classes were awfully dry, and the Army classes were a lot more fun. They had classes in rappelling and marksmanship, and you got to go out in the woods and camp out and do some fun things. And so I was exposed to both services. Had no exposure to the Navy when I was in college, and I think for myself, it certainly was a mindset. The Air Force, of course, is centered around aviation. The pilots are kind of, everything in the Air Force is centered around the pilots. The Army, I don't know why the Army and I didn't click. We just didn't. But when I was exposed to the Navy, it was so much more. It was so teamwork oriented. We did everything together, and I know the Army does it too. And like I said, I don't know why the Navy clicked with me over the Army, but each service kind of has its own thing. I know in the submarine service. Now, I did not serve on submarines. I served on surface ships. I was a gunner's mate guns. I worked on surface ship gun systems, so almost seaborne artillery. And I think with the submarine service, there's a little more not so much formality. Ships are really small towns, and a submarine is so small that it's almost like a family. And so it's just what each person, is attracted to. I think with myself growing up in a small town in northwest Arkansas, the idea of being a part of a big division with thousands of people, I just didn't work for me. Being a crew of 300 just was much more comfortable.
Ditto. Really, in a National Guard unit, it's really a lot the same things, and as opposed to the active duty where people transition in and out of units, Guard units tend to be very stable groups of people who are together for a very long time trying to accomplish a common goal. One of my closest friends during our first deployment to Iraq had been in, and when he retired, he had been in our regiment for 43 years. Now, on active duty, that guy would have been in probably 20 to 30 different units. He had been in the same battery. Take that back. He'd been in maybe 2 batteries. He'd been in the same regiment for 43 years, and his father was a gunner in the 206 Coast Artillery at Dutch Harbor, Alaska, on January the 2nd, 1942, when the 206 defended the only land battle that occurred in the actual territorial United States during World War II. So that's the kind of connections you get in the Guard. It's not uncommon at all for there to be multiple generations of one family serving together in a Guard unit. You just can't replace that.